We have some new leaked WhatsApp messages again, this time from the Tory MPs in Parliament who are having a massive argument over Sue Gray's appointment as Keir Starmer's Chief of Staff. An absolutely fascinating few days in Parliament in Westminster bubble. We have already talked about how every time the Tories go down, the Labour Party somehow manage to make it about themselves and shoot themselves in the foot. So we had the lockdown leaks, all the WhatsApp messages that are exposing Matt Hancock, Simon Case, many others in government during the lockdown days. That came out, and then days later, hours later, the Labour Party made a mess by appointing Sue Gray, who was a Cabinet Office and civil servant who was also investigating Partygate, as Keir Starmer's Chief of Staff. So they made a mess there. And then, now the Tories are making the whoopsie by making it about themselves. So the Labour Party are going down, but the Tories are like, hold my beer. I'm going to make it about myself, and we're going to basically miss an open goal. So I'm going to show you some leaked WhatsApp messages that we've received from Tory MPs. It's funny because it's a classic clash between the left of the Tory party and the right wing of the Tory party. Some of them defending Keir Starmer's new Chief of Staff, Sue Gray. So let's get into it. Let's see what we have. So Jackie Dole-Price said, the MP for Tory, said, Sue Gray has done the job she was asked to do. I think you all need to get a better understanding of impartiality and professionalism. Then Jim Mortimer, another Tory MP, said, well, sadly, I think she has tarnished the perception of the civil service's impartiality and professionalism by her actions. I agree with Jill. She continued by saying, I think that we all did take her at the face value as independent, but anyone truly of that nature would not engage in such an obviously controversial appointment. Jackie Dole-Price again said, my understanding is the job is with the leader of the opposition offices, so Keir Starmer's office. That is distinct from the Labour Party. Sure, Jackie. Forgive me, Jill, but decades of public service where she has inspired respect on all sides don't deserve to be tarnished, trashed by a herd of Conservative MPs who just want to fight a partisan battle. I am quite ashamed of what I see. Are you kidding me? It's not just Tory MPs. Firstly, you're supposed to be a Tory MP. Anyway, Jill Mortimer said, sadly, as I said, Jackie, it is the perception that counts, and she has tarnished that all by herself. Then Tim Lawton came out, another right-winger, saying, may I suggest that we focus our criticism of the Sue Gray appointment on the basis of how she has potentially undermined the objectivity of the civil service by switching from being a civil servant of the government to a paid employee of the opposition whilst privy to high-level government information and ministerial confidences. That's absolutely true. And at such a sensitive time in the electoral cycle. And then she said, obviously, focusing on the integrity about the way she handled the Partygate investigation without evidence of what she may have done differently in light of the above, only refocuses the public attention on Partygate and puts us on the defensive to prove something most of us cannot prove at this stage, at least. Actually, that's a very good point as well. The more you talk about Partygate, the more people remember the Partygate. Tim says, Starmer being so evasive on questions about how and when she was offered the job should provide ample targets for our ammunition without any need to reference Partygate. Just a suggestion. Okay, that's a good point. Nadine Dorries came. Oh, great. Nadine said, are you serious, Jackie? Permanent secretaries and civil servants are furious. The veneer of defense that they were always able to deploy was their impartiality, written into their code. As a result, their integrity. Good point. Sue Gray has destroyed that in one fell swoop, and her actions seriously undermine the foundations of our democracy and how we govern. The symbiotic relationship between alternating political administrations is delicate and nuanced, and somehow it works. Again, she's spot on about this, Nadine Dorries, which is quite rare for me to actually say, because she continues by saying that she's obviously been in conversation with the Labour Party for some time, and in doing so, assisting in undermining every Labour facing MP in tight marginal seats. Ask yourself this: if the situation were reversed, if she had moved over to work for the Conservatives, what would the Labour Party be doing right now? I think that's a very, very good point. The Labour Party would be up in arms against Sue Gray's appointment as a Tory, for example. This is the best part of the conversation. This is the end of the chat. Paul Bristow says, can I also suggest that we keep conversations like this off this WhatsApp group? It will leak. We are grown-ups and we can make up our own mind. Oh, God. The irony. Yes, Paul Bristow was absolutely spot on because these conversations were absolutely leaked. He did warn them. He did say, don't use this WhatsApp group to have your rant. It's going to leak. And yes, Paul, it did, in fact, leak. And we are talking about this. It's not my fault. Don't hate the game. No, don't hate the player, hate the game. Anyway, this is the latest update on the most idiotic thing ever. We're going to come back in half an hour. We're going to talk to you guys about Rachel Johnson, the sister of our former Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who's come out to defend her father getting a knighthood. Subscribe to the channel. I'm Mahyar, Tousi, and we are the media.